I'm Robert Timmons, and you're watching Weekly Words. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you for checking out this week's episode. Before we get started, I want to thank everybody who submitted their words for the year, and I encourage anybody who hasn't to still do so. As the year goes on and we keep pressing towards our goals and you come to a place where you feel stagnant or unmotivated or lazy, just remind yourself of your word as a way for you to be motivated and encouraged to keep moving towards all of the goals that you have for the year and everything that God has planned for you for the year. Before we get started with this week's topic, I want to take a moment to shout out Midas Mako. He's the one who's been making all the music and beats for Weekly Words, and if you like what you hear, you should definitely check him out to see all of his other projects. All of his information for Twitter, SoundCloud, and YouTube you can find below. Please be sure to follow and subscribe. All right, so this week I want to talk about something that I read in a book that I finished towards the end of last year. The book is called Images and Idols. Now, I definitely recommend this book to read for anybody who enjoys a good story that requires you to think. But I definitely recommend it for anybody who considers themselves to be a creator, a designer, a artist. This book really goes through how we were made in God's image and how He is the ultimate creator and we are creators after Him. All right, so I recommend this book to anybody. But today I do want to talk about one of the stories in this book. The authors talk about a young man who finds this canvas at an old antique shop. And he is so starstruck by how beautiful the canvas is, he decides to buy it and take it home. Once he gets home, he starts to unfold it, and he realizes that it's actually too big for him to open up and unfold in his house, so he unfolds it outside in his lawn. He's able to unfold the whole thing, and it's this beautiful canvas that he just sits and he marvels in its beauty. And his neighbors start to gather around and see the beauty as well, and they come and go as the day goes on. By the end of the day, everybody has gone except for this one elderly man. Now, this elderly man walks up to the young man and says, "Hey, how would you like it if I showed you the true meaning, the true purpose for this canvas?" The young man said sure, because he wanted to unveil more of why the canvas was so beautiful. The elderly man took him down to a dock and showed him a ship that had no sail and said that canvas was actually meant to be the sail on the ship. And the young man was shocked. He was amazed. Now, the story goes on in the book, so if you want to hear what else happens, I recommend getting the book, but I want to stop here for today, right? And I want to stop here because at this point in the story, the whole time, the canvas always had beauty, it always had value, it always had purpose, but it wasn't known to the seller at the antique shop. It wasn't known to the young man who purchased it. It wasn't known to those walking by as it sat on the lawn, right? The canvas, as beautiful as it wasn't living, walking, or being used to the capacity that it was designed and created for. It wasn't operating in its purpose. And it wasn't until the elderly man came by and said, "Hey, let me show you what the purpose of this canvas is." And it's actually not just a canvas, it is a sail for a ship. So the ship can go off and wander all of the seas and the oceans. I thought this story was so powerful because it resonated with me and with the idea that it's so possible for me, or it's so possible for us to be in this place where we look nice and we're consumed with, being on display and an audience and people and friends and family walking by and seeing how beautiful we are, how talented we are, but we're not operating in our purpose, right? We're just a sight. And at some point, people walk away. And I think in that, we need to find what our purpose is and operate in it. So in the story, it goes from the canvas being known as just a canvas to the canvas being known as a sail. So in your life, are you in a place where you're just looking nice and you're just posting on social media and you're like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that? Or are you somebody who's actually operating in the purpose you were designed in? Now, if you're someone that doesn't necessarily know what your purpose is or you're still working towards it, that's completely fine. Life's not always going to be as easy as an elderly man just coming down the street saying, hey, let me show you your purpose. No, it's a journey. It takes discernment. It takes preparation. It's a progression in life, right? So if you're someone who's trying to navigate into what your purpose is, more power to you. I want to encourage you to keep pressing towards the mark of what God has for you. And if you're someone who says, hey, I'm actually someone who's been just operating on the lawn and just trying to look nice, I haven't been in the right place. Well, now is the time to shift your lifestyle so that you can actually find your ship and set sail for what God has for you, right? I want to encourage everybody right now, because we've just completed our vision boards and we've finished our goals for the year and set out our words. And I want to make sure that everybody is actually going in the right direction, so they're not staying complacent with where they are and being a nice looking artifact on a shelf or a nice looking person on the lawn, but you're actually somebody who is moving towards the purpose and the goals that God has for you, and what that looks like for your life and what that looks like for the season that you're in, because it's not going to be the same as my journey, and it's not going to necessarily be the same as it was for you last season. But what is it for you now, right? I encourage everybody to find their ship and set their sail in the future for what God has for them. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Weekly Words. I pray that you thoroughly enjoyed it and got something positive from it. If you have any questions or suggestions for topics for me to speak on in the future, feel free to email me at weeklywordsrt@gmail.com. Our next episode will be on February 20th, and I look forward to seeing you guys tune in. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you back here next time.